Hi, everyone. Marsha Grace here, your calm creativity connector. And I'm here in the calm of the center of the storm that we are all experiencing together. Yay for togetherness, right? Together but apart. I'm here each day during the week to assure you that there is another way to pursue a happier, more abundant life, even in the face of everything that we're experiencing, all the upheavals and the changes and the health issues, the financial meltdown, when our businesses are closed and shuttered, or we don't know if we're going to have a job again, even in the midst of all of this, because we know we're not the victims of this. We don't have to be. We have the ability to make some new decisions. We want to shift our thoughts from fear to love, right? That's what I'm here to help us recognize. So in our daily get together, we do 4 things. First, we're going to light our candle and do some 3 slow, deep breaths in and out to center and to focus us so that we can get the body relaxed and just take a couple of minutes just to let go of everything else and just be present right here. And the second thing we do is I talk about some topic that I think will be helpful for us to consider. Then I'm going to read a poem first today. So I'm going to read the poem, which I wrote, and then I'll do a little talk about something, and I'd love your input. So by all means, any input you have, I would love. And the last thing is I'll tell some silly jokes, really. I'm just really silly jokes, just to lighten things up and keep us in a happier mood. Okay, so that's what I've got planned here. And so I'm going to light my candle. And I do this because many people like to close their eyes when they're doing some breath work or some quiet time. And other people like to keep their eyes open, and look at a candle, look at a flame, something to focus on. So either way is fine. So I have the candle for you if you like it. Otherwise, you can close your eyes as we do our breathing and a minute or two of just being still. Okay, so let's begin. We'll just blow out all the air from the lungs. Just blow it out and begin to breathe in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold 2, 3, and out 2, 3. Let go of the anxiety. 6. And in 2, 3. Breathe in, feeling safe and calm. 5, 6. Hold 2, 3, and out 2, 3. Let go of fear. 2, 3, 6. And one more. In 2, 3. Breathing in compassion for yourself and everyone else. And hold 2, 3, and out 2, 3. Letting go of any sadness. We're here for joy. All right, so feeling good, feeling relaxed now a little bit. Just check your body, make sure that everything is comfortable, and you can just spend the next couple of minutes comfortable in your seat. And I want to talk about, I was going to read the poem first, so I'll read the poem. And this poem I wrote back in 2002 was right after... Well, not right after, but shortly after I moved from my home of 35 years in Nassau County into Suffolk County. And I was happy to have made the move. It was a tough move. Moving is tough, but it was a good move, and for the time being. And I was happy there. So anyway, this poem came to me one day right after Christmas in 2002. And it's called To Live in Love. To live in love is to let my heart soar to the heavens while my feet remain steady on the earth. To live in love is to honor the past, to live and breathe in the moment, and to give the future into the capable hands of the divine. To live in love is to gaze at the one I share my days and nights with and see the eternal beauty and wisdom that shines from his eyes. To live in love is to accept what is, yet strive to see the greatest good in myself and my beloveds. To live in love is to be both lover and beloved in full consciousness of the responsibilities of each of those personas. To live in love is to see the undeniable dualities of earthly life, of right and wrong, safety and fear, yet to know on a deeper, more profound level the great prevailing oneness of creation. To live in love is to give all, to have all, to be all I can. All right, so that's my little poem that I wrote. I hope you enjoyed that. Actually, I'll post that on my Facebook page later if you'd like to read it again. Hi, Laura. Thanks for coming. All right, so today I thought I'd talk about two things that, because this is my tips part of our discussion together. And it's so I just like to share some thoughts that I've had, maybe from things that I've read this morning or that have come to me in my meditation this morning. Because I do my meditation every morning, my quiet time. I like to call it quiet time because it's more than just meditation. There are several things that I do during that me time that help me start my day so that I can go into my day feeling vibrant and vigorous and positive and all that good stuff. And prepared. That's one of the best things about that quiet time is to give myself the chance to plan out my day. And I highly recommend that. As I've said over the last couple of days, I've been talking a lot about making plans, plan your day, especially as we're stuck inside. And, our whole schedule, our whole everything is upside down, right? Everything's upside down. So we may be, I was just listening to the radio this morning and they were talking about, are you sitting around in your pajamas all day? And maybe that's fine for the first few days, just the novelty of it. But after a while, it's maybe not such a good idea. Maybe it's good to get up and get dressed. That's actually one of the reasons why I decided to do this daily little talk. Because I said, it gives me purpose. It gives me something that I can share, hopefully some good stuff. But it also gives me, it gives me a reason to get up and get dressed and feel like I'm, I've got a day to live. So that's why I think it's a good thing to notice that. Notice the kind of things that we want to do. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. So I want to discuss two things today, and one of them is responsibility, taking responsibility, okay? Because it is really, really easy in times like this, in traumatic times, the likes of which we've never seen before, to really start to moan and the old pity party comes out. Oh, why is this happening to us and to me? And look what's happening, and I don't know what to do, and all that kind of negativity stuff. So we can fall into that trap all too easily. And there's a good reason for that, but as a Course in Miracles student, I can explain that for hours, but I'm not going there today. However, it is a psychological fact that we have a tendency to look on the negative. And if you spend some time, and this is when I teach my students meditation, or the practice that I teach, which is more of a meditative contemplation, I teach them to learn how to look at their thoughts, to see their thoughts, to notice their thoughts, not to get rid of the thoughts, but to notice them. Because if you do that, you may be shocked to find out that your thoughts are, they're pretty scary. They're pretty negative. They may be based a lot in the past. They may be a lot of guilt over things you've done, or anger, right? Anger at other people, grudges that you're holding. So when you can notice those things without judging them, needless to say, without judging them, then you will be able to transform them. And that's my goal. My goal is to transform all negative thinking into positive thinking, of course. So by taking responsibility, there's several steps, really, I think, that I've noticed that I can mention. And so one of them is to take inventory of yourself. As you're sitting quietly reflecting, be really, really honest. And sometimes that's very hard to do. We want to put ourselves in a glowing light and think how great we are and all of that. And I'm sure we all are. All of us have really great characteristics. But we also have some other things that, have slipped in there a little bit. And we but want to notice those things, because that's where our work is. Our work is not in being a better, because we're good, being better good. I mean, that's fine, but that's not the work. The work is noticing where we could really be better, and doing the work that needs to happen for that to change. So taking this inventory is really just a case of examining, what kind of things do I do? How do I interact with people? On a personal level, I'll tell you a little story about having been having this, a little bit of disagreement, or a little not disagreement. Well, yes, disagreement, but more importantly, I was having difficulty communicating successfly with one of my children. And I won't name who that is, but in any case, so I really, for a long time, wanted to blame this individual for our difficulty in communicating. And so I did this little taking inventory thing, and sat down one day and said, why is this like, I don't want this. This is horrible. I don't want this to go on. And so I thought about, I just sat with it and really wanted to understand myself, so that I could understand why this was a problem. And lo and behold, I really got something I did not want to hear. I didn't want to hear it, but I heard it, and I'm glad that I did, because it told me that I needed to take responsibility for the things that I say, how I say them, and and really notice that in the course of our conversations together. And so that was a revelatory moment, I have to say, because I went from blaming the other person to taking responsibility, and that was so incredibly freeing. And life-changing, literally. I mean, that really can change your life, that simple thing. So, okay, so that's the first thing. The other thing is to feel your feelings. Now, when I was doing that, and got that awareness, I mean, it was like, oh no, how could I was doing all this terrible stuff for so long, all my life, oh my God, that's terrible. And so we want to beat ourselves up and kind of feel guilty that we made these mistakes. Well, of course, that is not useful. Not useful. But feel your feelings. It's okay. You need to bring them up. You need to address them. You need to be able to see them so that you can release them. So don't hold back on feeling your feelings. All right. You want to notice what you're feeling. And for many of us, that's difficult, because we've been told to shove our feelings down and to make everything light and bright and good, and not really uncover the truth of what's really going on in ourselves. So, all right, so there's that. And then another step that we need to take is to, and this is to me the most essential one, is to, in this inner journey, it's an inner journey, right? To go within and find out how I can connect with that part of me that's connected to this bigger thing, whatever you want to call it. You can call it God, you can call it life with a capital L, you can call it a universal consciousness. It doesn't matter what you actually call it, but what you want to recognize is that you're connecting to something bigger than yourself, in which you can recognize that all of us together All people on Earth, on this planet Earth, are in the same boat. Okay, and so because when we do that, when we make that connection, and then we just get still and listen, we will hear the answers that we need. That's what'll happen as a result of that decision to join with the truth. Okay, the truth or the oneness, or again, you can call it lots of different things depending on how you are comfortable viewing it, but it's really about just making that connection. So that's crucial. That's absolutely crucial. And then, of course, once you do that and you start to get answers and you start to see things about yourself that maybe need improvement, then, of course, you can make amends, as they do in the 12 steps. If we're familiar with the 12 steps, one of the steps, I forget which one, is to make amends. So, and that doesn't mean you have to physically go knock on somebody's door or call them up or, write them a letter. You could do any of those things, of course. But it does mean that you take that situation into your consciousness, into your awareness, and you recognize your mistake and you feel sorry. You're sorry. You're really, truly recognizing that it was a mistake and that you do recognize it and that you are willing to act differently. That's the important thing, because thoughts and all good intentions are great, but they mean nothing unless you put them into practice. So whether that practice is actually contacting that person, maybe it's somebody who's dead. It could be somebody that you just carried a grievance with until the day they died, and were never able to make amends, so to speak, now that you may have realized that you took part in that situation just as much as they did. But you still can do it, okay? You still can do it. You don't have to physically be with that person to make amends. All right, so please, by all means, keep that in mind, because you will feel so light and so bright. Hi, Michael. You'll feel so good doing that, and that's the point, is to feel good. Because my next that segues into the next thing that I want to talk about, which is self-love. Okay, because when you take responsibility, like I said, it can be a little scary. It can be a little uncomfortable, because, thank you, Michael, because you are noticing things that are not maybe the things you want to really notice in yourself. So it can be uncomfortable, to say the least. So the way we can love ourselves through this process is, number one, watch out for those guilt feelings. Notice those guilt feelings that come up. I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do this? What kind of a jerk am I? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, all that stuff. And so you notice that. And what you do with that is you recognize that nobody's perfect. There isn't a single individual, I don't care who you've put on what pedestal, there is nobody walking around that's perfect, okay? And so with that knowledge, we can say, okay, I'm not perfect, but neither is anybody else. So, okay, that puts us all, again, we're all back in the same boat, right? And because we're all in the same boat, now it's much easier to forgive myself for those infractions that I realize I've perpetrated on somebody else, or on myself. We are so mean to ourselves so often. Is that not true? Do you agree with me? Laura, what do you think? Do you agree? I'd love to hear you tell me yes or no. Please. How about you, Michael? Do you think we're tough on ourselves sometimes? Do you think we beat ourselves up and maybe find fault where there isn't necessarily fault to be found? I mean, or maybe there is, but it's something that could be corrected, right? Very important to do that, to just recognize we make mistakes, but nobody's perfect, and we can correct them. So the other thing that is important in this allowing ourselves to love ourselves is to focus on and nurture our positive characteristics, the things that we are good at, the things that we are, things that we are passionate about in our lives, that we enjoy doing, that how we help other people, just whatever it is that we know is helpful to ourselves and to others. So when you can focus on that all the negative stuff is going to take a back seat. It's going to shrink down so that one day won't even be there anymore. It'll just have been gone. It'll be gone, and you will say, and maybe you might think about it and say, where did that go? Well, that's great. Got rid of that, and it was easy. It was easy because I wasn't focusing on it. I was focusing on the positive things, the things that bring happiness and joy to my life, and therefore to other people around me, right? So we can live together in harmony. So we do the best we can. And this is, again, the last thing I want to say about self-love, is you do the best you can to catch the uncharitable parts of yourself as quickly as you can. Just catch them. Notice when you are going to say something, you want to say some cutting remark to somebody, right? Or you want to judge somebody, or I don't know, whatever it is you want to, or again, to yourself. Again, very important. Always notice how you're beating up on yourself, because that's not nice. That's uncharitable. That's uncharitable. You're not being kind to yourself. And if you're not kind to yourself is not going to be kind to others, because that's an absolute law of mind in terms psychologically, that when we're feeling bad about ourselves, we're going to go out and try to make other people feel bad too, because misery loves company, as you know. So really catch those negative things and be happy that you do. It's a good thing. It's a thing to celebrate, because when I can notice something that I've been doing that may have been not in my own best interests, and anytime we're not nice to somebody else, it's always not in our own best interest, then I'm the one that benefits. I benefit, and so does everybody else. So it's a win-win situation all around. So it sounds good? You like that? I hope so. I hope so. All right, I think I've covered the ground I wanted to cover today. Nobody's making any comments, so I guess, what I say to you always, jokes. You want to do jokes? Oh my goodness. Where are my jokes? Where are my jokes? Okay, do I have some jokes here? Yes. All right, for my business people, some business jokes today. There's an enormous number of managers who have retired on the job, said by Peter Drucker. Scott Adams said, remind people that profit is the difference between revenue and expense. This makes you look very smart. Stephen Wright said, I think it's wrong that only one company makes the game Monopoly. Ted Turner, we all know who Ted Turner is, right? My son is now an entrepreneur, he says. That's what you're called when you don't have a job. So maybe we're all entrepreneurs now, right? And the last one is, a budget tells us what we can't afford, but it doesn't keep us from buying it. So there you go. I'm talking about being responsible, right? We can have a budget, but you got to keep it, right? So there you go. John, hi. I'm afraid I'm coming to an end here, so tune in tomorrow. Of course, I'm here every day, every weekday. So tomorrow will be Friday. It's our last day of the week together. And if you enjoyed today's time together, please comment and share, and send me any suggestions you have. If you want me to talk about something in particular, I'd be happy to do that. And Also, I want to offer you, to help you stay calm in these trying times, please go to the link. I hope the link is there in the message box, for a free guided meditation that you can find. There's a link. When you get to that page, there's a little yellow bar across the top that says get a free guided meditation. So by all means, I hope that's helpful. So, as I always do, I want to close with this thought, and that is that everything begins with a thought. So keep your thoughts light. Bye-bye till tomorrow.